What if I told you that who you think you are is not who you really are? What if who you think you are, your identity, is just a collection of stories that you've told yourself about your past, and your brain is just using those patterns from the past, connecting them with the present, and using that to actually predict the future, alright? So I'm out here right now in Playa Brava, and we've come out here after a very long trek through the jungle, and it was an epic experience. And I really believe that everyone should take time out of their life and really disconnect from all the hustle, the bustle, from all the demands that modern society and modern life really has on us, so that we can disconnect from all of that and connect to where we came from, right? Connect to nature, connect to the peaceful ease and the good vibrations that exist out here on the beach, for example, or even when you go out in the jungle like we did over here to get to this beach, which was the end result of the trek. You can really get the vibes from nature and connect back to who we really are, alright? Because the question that I've been asking myself a lot really is about ego. What is ego, alright? Because I believe that ego is the root cause behind all conflict that we have on our planet today, alright? And even on the micro level, the conflict that exists between people on the micro level, all of that comes down to ego. Now, what is ego exactly? So you have to understand that we are human beings, alright? Human is who we are on the level of form, alright? It's based in time, and it's something that can be identified, alright? And then we have the aspect of ourselves which is being, and this is the aspect of ourselves who we are on the level of essence, alright? Timeless, formless, pure consciousness is who we are on the level of being. And of course, we live in a very material world these days, and it's very easy to actually become overly attached to the image that we think we are, right? Becoming too attached to who we are on the level of human, and losing sight of the fact that we are actually being as well. And this has resulted in a lot of the downsides which we see going on today. Like, depression rates are so high, suicide rates are amongst the leading causes of death. People are on all sorts of pills just to numb out the pain, and it really comes down to the fact that we have lost sight of who we really are. And this is why I actually take time out of my life to get out here, connect with nature, because it's so easy to get caught in that spiral of constant stimulation and not getting that time in isolation where you're disconnected, because there's no Wi-Fi over here, there's no cellular signal over here. So it's just me, nature, and who I'm here with right now, alright? And it's really an epic opportunity to connect and get clear on what I want moving forward, who I am, why am I here, what am I going to do about the fact that I'm here right now, and really get deep and, you know, not let the distractions get in between it, right? So getting back to the topic of ego, the fact is that ego is not a bad thing, but when you lose sight of the fact that there's the being aspect of it as well, that's when you begin to actually go down that negative spiral, alright? So what we have to do is integrate, alright? Because the aspects of human and being are actually not separate. We have to integrate them so that we can actually maximize the opportunity that we have in this beautiful life that we have been gifted with, alright? And you can think of it like this, alright? The ripple on the surface of the ocean is not separate from the ocean. In the same way, who you are on the level of form is not different from who you are on the level of essence, alright? We need the integration, and once you have that integration, you can actually move towards thriving and becoming all that you can be, alright? So ego, what is it? Ego is thinking without awareness. Thinking without awareness of the fact that we are eternal spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. This is something that I've heard Aaron Dowdy talk about a lot. I'll link out to his YouTube channel. Definitely, if you're into this stuff, you know, like spirituality, metaphysics, personal development, he does an excellent job at bridging all of these topics. But ego is thinking without awareness of the fact that you are an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And all the spiritual masters have told us the same thing, alright? Because there is an aspect of us that is eternal, and there is an aspect of us that every religion talks about that is beyond the level of form, and it comes down to the level of formless timelessness, all right? And we live in a time right now where a lot of people are talking about science and how religion is not cool anymore and religion is not provable by science. But the fact of the matter is that even if you dive deep into the science, get into the realm of quantum dynamics and quantum physics and look at what's going on the atomic level, you can find that a lot of these quantum physicists are coming to the same conclusions that the ancient mystics have been telling us for millennia, right? And Dr. Joe Dispenza, he tells us that science is the contemporary language of mysticism, all right? So even if you do fall under that umbrella of thinking that religion is not cool anymore and that sciences are God and all of this stuff, then realize that even the latest breakthroughs in quantum dynamics and quantum physics, they are all coming to the same conclusions that the ancient mystics have been telling us for millennia. So getting back to the ego, all right? So ego is who you are that is conditioned by genetics and environment, all right? And I heard Jason Silva say this, and he said that cells are a technology that create experience into biology. And what he's talking about over here is epigenetics, all right? So like I said, we're conditioned by our genetics and by our environment, and epigenetics is the new science which really explains what's going on at the level above the gene. And you can think of it like this, like your genome, your DNA, your set number of sequences that have been passed on from your family that cannot be changed, that is your genome, all right? That is your DNA. And epigenetics is who you are conditioned by the environment. And if you look at your DNA, your genome, as the keys on a piano, then your epigenome is the song that's being played. Your environment actually programs what genes are turned on and what genes are not turned on. And this is why genes are not your destiny, because the epigenome is what determines your expression that will take place, and your epigenome is determined by the environment, and this is why your environment is your destiny. And you have been given the power to choose the environment that it will allow for the maximum amount of growth that can take place. We have that freedom of choice, and if you feel like you are not currently in an environment that is facilitating your growth, that is supporting the values that you want to embody, then of course that is a call to action for you to take the steps towards actually changing your environment and moving towards becoming who you really want to be. So ego is really identification with form, all right? Because anytime you identify something, you make it the same as I, and anytime that you make something the same as I, you think that it is a part of you, all right? And this is entirely what consumer culture is based on, because marketers make us buy products that we don't really need because we think that it will increase how we see ourselves or how other people will see us, all right? And this is entirely because we have lost the fact that we are human beings. We are not just humans. We have an aspect to us that is timeless, formless, pure consciousness, and in the modern era it's just very easy to lose sight of that fact. And once again, this is why I recommend that you actually get out in nature and connect with your higher self, connect with where you came from, so that you can integrate both of these aspects, and I'll talk about how to do that right now, all right? So how do you overcome the ego? Of course, one of the things that you can do is get out in nature like this, but of course that's not something that we can do on a regular basis. We still do have to go back to modern society, live up to our obligations, our expectations, and service that we have been brought here to do. So of course, like, none of this even matters if there was no society, because we are here to serve, all right? Your life is not about you. Your life is about the lives that you touch and how you touch them. And of course, if you do want to maximize that impact, then we have to actually go back to modern society and integrate both of these aspects, all right? So the first step really in overcoming the ego is to get aware of the dysfunction, of the madness that is going on between your ears, all right? So in Hindu philosophy, they call this Maya, or the veil of delusion that blinds you from the truth. In Buddhist philosophy, they call this dukkha, which is commonly translated as suffering, but what it actually means is an axle, all right? It means that it's like you have a wheel and there's an axle stuck within it. So you can have, for example, a Porsche 911 turbo in your garage, But if there is an axle stuck within its wheel, even though it has the most powerful engine, even though it has a lot of potential, it is still not gonna move anywhere because there's an axle stuck within its wheel. All right. And in Abrahamic religions, they have the concept of sin, which actually is a term that comes from archery. And just like an archer who misses the mark, a sinner is someone who misses the point of human existence and therefore causes unnecessary suffering either on himself or on others. All right. So realize that the common states of human consciousness are characterized by madness. All right. In Buddhist thought, there's another concept of the monkey mind, where the monkey is just swinging from branch to branch, and that's similar to how your mind is jumping from thought to thought, and this monkey is often a little bit crazy as well. And then this monkey gets drunk, so it's basically like you have a crazy drunk monkey who is swinging from thought to thought when you're stressed out. All right. So really, it comes down to noticing this madness that is going on between your ears and not identifying with it, because the root cause of this dysfunction comes down to thinking without awareness. All right. Thinking without awareness, thinking that you are your thoughts and that there's nothing outside of them. But the fact that you can observe your thoughts means that you are not your thoughts. And if you can really develop your relationship with the awareness more than you identify with your thoughts, that's when you can begin to grow a distance from them, stop identifying with them, and actually begin to notice the drama that's going on. All right. And a great way to do this is obviously just to sit down, cut out all stimuli, close your eyes, and just watch your thoughts go by like clouds in the sky. All right. Well, sit there, watch the drama that's going on between your ears, and just notice. And the metaphor, the analogy is that your thoughts are like clouds in the sky, and you, the awareness, are the sky. You are ever present, you're always there. And the more often you can do this, just observe your thoughts, even in ordinary in your day-to-day. If you just notice the dysfunction that's going on, you can increase the distance between it, identify with it less, and choose your most optimal response rather than the one that you're triggered to respond by. All right. So like I said, this has been talked about by all the major most of the major religions. How they have this dysfunction. The ordinary states of consciousness are characterized by madness, and the more you can realize this, the more you can actually have yourself use thought as a tool for what was intended, rather than thought use you and throw you onto lifelines that you do not want to walk down. All right. And the second step in overcoming the ego is to be non-reactive to the ego in others. All right. So realize that anything that charges you up, anything that causes you to experience some heightened emotions, you can say, that is because that pattern exists within you as well. All right. There's something within you that is reacting to something within someone else, and once you can catch yourself in the moment before you actually do something that you would later regret, or do something that is against the values that you want to embody, then that is when you can actually be non-reactive to the ego and others. Realize that that's the ego, that's not you. You are more than the ego. Yes, the ego is a part of you, but it's not who you are. And once you are non-reactive to this, because of the awareness that this pattern is within you as well, so you will not go to the place where your mind is telling you, because you have the distance between your thoughts, between stimulus and response, as Viktor Frankl would say, because between every stimulus there is a space before your response. And if you can choose your most optimal response, that is when you will walk down paths that will lead to your most optimal life. Right? Because at the end of the day, our life is just a series of choices, and it really comes down to the fact of whether you are reactive to the stimuli in your environment or responding to it. All right? If you're reactive, you think you are your thoughts, you're just going to the path which your thoughts have led you down. You're going down the path where the crazy drunk monkey is leading you towards, right? But once you realize that you're the awareness in the backdrop, you can be non-reactive to the things that charge you up from other people, and as a result, you will dissolve the collective ego of humanity, and you will dissolve your own ego as well. All right. So that's a huge one. Anything that charges you up, anything that causes you to feel a certain way, that is a result of what someone else did or said. Realize that that pattern is within you as well, and get the distance between stimulus and response, and work towards developing your relationship with the awareness, all right, rather than with thought, and use thinking as a tool rather than have it use you. The next step in overcoming the ego is to notice your interactions with other people, all right? So notice how you talk to the Uber driver, notice how you talk to your boss, notice how you talk to your friends, notice how you talk to your parents, notice how you talk to your siblings, etc. And a lot of times it's like we think we are something, and then we think how we are in standing to the projection that we have of someone else. So it's like a projection of us is interacting with a projection of who we think the other person is. So it's like it removes the authenticity in the relationship, and it's just like two mental projections that are within here talking to each other, right? So I've definitely noticed this in myself, where I, for example, am talking differently to the vigilant at the gate than I am talking to the waiter at the restaurant, than I am talking to my buddies. And this is really, again, something that is in the works of the ego, because like I said, it's like mental projections that are communicating with each other. And the fact is that that just removes the authenticity from the from the interaction, from the relationship as a result as well. So it really comes down to being present, and all of the stuff that I'm talking about really in terms of overcoming the ego comes down to awareness, right? Increasing your awareness and disidentifying from thought. And the more you can do this, the more you can get and develop your relationship with the aspect of yourself that is pure being, and integrate that with the aspect of yourself that is human, who you are on the level of form, okay? And really the integration comes down to what Eckhart Tolle, the author of Power of Now and A New Earth, tells us is awakened doing, okay? So you are, he talks about how we have two main purposes. Our first one is to wake up from the common dysfunction, to wake up to who we truly are as eternal spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. And that is our inner purpose, all right? To wake up to who we really are, to wake up to the fact that we are not just humans, to wake up to the fact that we have the aspect of ourselves that is pure being as well. And that is our first purpose, and that lies within the dimension of formlessness. It is a metaphysical, and it is not something that is on the level of form, all right? Because our second purpose is actually related to who we are on the level of form, because your ego, your identity, that's the role that you're playing, all right? So you have to play that role well. I'm not saying that the ego is something that is not a part of ordinary human experience. It is actually a necessary component of it. And once you can actually learn to play that role well, while you are awake and aware of the fact that you are not your thoughts, that's when you will enter the state of awakened doing, okay? And really, Eckhart Tolle talks about how any time that you are in a state of mind that is not characterized by enthusiasm, enjoyment, or acceptance, then you are falling victim to your thoughts. You're falling victim to something, because if you are not enjoying something, then you can at least accept the fact that you have to follow through with it. And if you are enjoying something, then you have to realize that enjoyment is not something that you get, it is something that you give, okay? Enjoyment means joy, so within the joy. So this is an easy trap to fall into, where we think that something outside of us is going to give us enjoyment, but really it's about us bringing the joy to the activity and not being dependent on something else to make us feel good, okay? And really enthusiasm is when you're bringing joy to the thing that you're doing, and it's aligned with a higher purpose as well, to the extent where you're working towards a vision, all right? So it's not ultimately letting go of the ego. Like I said, it's about integrating your human with your being, and getting into that state of awakened doing that Eckhart Tolle talks about, right? And once you are there, you will be operating within or through the lens of enthusiasm, acceptance, or enjoyment. And if you're not operating through these three lenses, then that is when you know that you are quote-unquote sinning, and you are causing unnecessary suffering either on yourself or on someone else as a result, all right? So those are the three states that you always want to be finding yourself in. Of course, this is easier said than done, and this is a day-to-day practice. This is something that will obviously, this is a lifetime practice, I would say, because it's always something that I'm working on, and it's always something that I'm trying to improve on, is building my relationship with the awareness in the background, getting clear on the fact that I am an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience, because it's very easy to lose sight of the things that are important in life. And that's why I'm here right now in Parque Tayrona de Santa Marta, and it has been an epic experience. You've seen the hikes over here, and we're gonna be setting out on another hike today, and it has been an amazing adventure to the point where I've really been able to connect with who I really am, why am I here, what am I here to do, and really stop thinking small and getting clear on the vision and getting clear on the change that I want to see in the world. All right, and really it all comes down to who you are on the level of form, integrated with who you are on the level of formlessness, timelessness, and realizing that just like a ripple on the surface of the ocean is not separate from the ocean, you are not separate from the universe. All right, that's what all the major spiritual texts have told us. At the end of the day, is that everything is one, everything is related, and the reason we go through all of this conflict in this world, cause unnecessary suffering on ourselves, on other people, is because we lose sight of this fact, right? And this is really the purpose of this video, is to help you and to help me as well, like solidify this in my mind, to get clear on the fact that this is a beautiful experience that we have here. This is a beautiful opportunity that we've been given here to express our greatest gifts and greatest service to the world. And really, if we can get that distance from our thoughts and disidentify from them, that is when we can move towards having you and use thought as a tool rather than have it use us, and use it to serve humanity, to serve ourselves, and create a better world as a result. All right, so I hope that this video has been useful for you. We have, like I said, another day trek to go, and it's been an epic experience so far, and I really hope that this video has provided you with some great value as well. With all that being said, this has been Mo Salim, and I'll see you